Good morning, this is Professor Maloney, and today I'm going to be creating a little Windows 10 training overview. So your Windows 10 training is due on September the 13th, and your Windows 10 exam is the following morning, September the 14th, during the required class. So that means you can work on Windows 10 training up until 11:59 p.m. on Monday night, the 13th of September, and you take the exam 7 a.m. on Windows 10 on the morning of the 14th. Right, so let me just pull up my calendar here to show you that stuff. So 13th is Monday, 14th is the exam day, so that is correct. All right, so what I'm going to do now is stop sharing me and go over and show you where we're going to be going. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll go over to MindTap. All right, so in MindTap, get out of here. We're going to go to where we always go via the student start here, and just click here and now register. Let me change this thing because there's no more registration. Students click here. To go to MindTap. Do your work. Okay, submit that. All right, so now I'm going to click the new link and we get over to MindTap. Now, by the way, this video will be very short, okay? Actually, you know what? Let me make sure that I am recording this before I stop. Yes, I am recording, so that's what I wanted. Yeah, so this recording will be very short, okay? It's going to literally be no more than 15 minutes, and then that's at the outside. This is a very easy thing to demonstrate. So in MindTap, okay, this is our class, and this is MindTap. So I'm going to operating systems, and just again, to remind you, it's due September 13th, 11:59 p.m. Now, how many times should you do this training? You should do this training a bunch of times. By the way, I'm going to change this to making it available now. Okay, so let me edit this, and I'll actually make it available on Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. So let me make it available now on the 7th. Okay, 7th at that time, done. All right, and hide that part and save. Okay, so now that training is available as of Tuesday morning the 7th. All right, okay, so now we're just going to go into the training. Now, of course, to do well in the exam, it's primarily based on this training. So I strongly suggest you do each activity, each task 4 times, maybe 5 times, 6 times. You can write down notes on the tasks, okay? So take your time, prepare properly. Remember in this class, what do I always say? Pay attention, right? Now, so it's Windows 10 training too, though, so you might notice all these other things. Anything that says Windows 10 is probably a good idea to review. So the first 2 up here, Module 1 and 2, talk about Windows 10. Perhaps it's worth you clicking on it, and then this just says read the module and complete the activities. You don't have to do it, but it would probably help, right? This one, working with the Windows 10 desktop. Again, it's just read the module, complete the activities. I'd say it's probably a good idea to do so. Don't go too much into 3, 4, and 7. I mean, they're still dealing with Windows 10, so you can if you want, but don't spend too much time on them. And then Module 7 for Windows is Microsoft Edge. Edge is a browser, and actually it's like using Chrome. Okay, it's based on Chrome, but that's not Windows 10, right? Windows 10 is the operating system, so this is just talking about browsers, so therefore you don't need to worry about this for sure. And this is Mac Module 1. And it's getting started with Mac OS X. OS stands for operating system. So this is the 10th rendition of the OS for Mac, so it's OS X, okay? Now, this is also obviously not Windows 10, so you don't need to do it. But it's probably a real good idea, especially for Windows users, to go in and at least check out what the Mac OS X is, because if you run it, if you click it and you do it, you're doing it in a virtual machine, meaning even if you're using Windows, even if you're using Linux, whatever you're using as an operating system, when you start here within MindTap, you're running a virtual machine, and that virtual machine will be demonstrating OS X. Just like up here if you do it. And if you're using Safari or Chrome or Firefox or any other browser, it's going to be in a virtual machine that's running Edge. Okay? All right. So now getting to the training. So you click Windows 10 training. This is your first official training in this class. All right. So first it's going to tell you to check your system. All right. It's a question. Make sure your system's set up correctly. Now to run anything in MindTap, you need to be using to allow or enable pop-ups. So I'm going to just click Start. Okay. And see, now I'm in a pop-up. This pop-up is in Windows 10. So this window right here that I'm looking at, okay, is Windows 10. If you're using a Mac, if you're using a Linux system, if you're using an old Windows 8.1 system, or even older, Windows 7, Windows 8.0, whatever, any system you're using, what you're actually running is a virtual machine. Remember, this is the virtual machine, and this virtual machine is in Windows 10. All right. So if you don't, when you click on that Start button, if you don't get here, it means you didn't allow pop-ups. How do you allow pop-ups? Go to your content. Go down to Enable pop-ups. Enabling pop-ups in your browser. Okay. So you go down to there, and then it'll be up as a second window here. All right. Okay. So now they're telling me just shut down Windows 10. So let me tell you how this training works. First of all, there's 3 different modes. Okay. By default, you're always going to start in the apply mode. That's the one with the blue background. Okay. So the blue background color is the default, but it's also the one you must do. In other words, if you do not do this apply mode, you don't get credit for doing the activity, whether you get it right or not. There's also an observe mode. The observe mode, you're going to hear someone tell you what you need to do, and they're going to explain each step as they do it, and then they're going to do the steps. So they talk, they show you on video, and they do. The practice mode, it's exactly like the observe. The only difference is that when they tell you to click something, you must click it. Okay, but they're going to tell you what it is that you have to click, and then it just sits there until you click it. Then it goes to them talking again. All right, the apply, you do it yourself. So I will demonstrate the observe and the practice on another one, not this one. Okay, all right, so shut down Windows 10. Now, so if I, by the way, the instructions are always movable. Okay, it's always movable within the pop-up window. This is our pop-up window, right? Okay, so if it's in the way, in other words, when it's down here, if there happened to be something behind it, you can just drag it to move it, okay? All right, so shut down Windows 10. Let's say I click on this E. E, obviously, in this case, is Microsoft Edge. So that's not shutting anything down, but you'll just see what will happen, okay? Oh, it's incorrect. Try again. Now, if this was a test, that would be my first try. And then if I click again, let's say I just click on File Explorer, this thing here, okay, that would then be wrong. But instead of coming back to it, then I'm out of tries. So each test question, you get exactly 2 tries. But you notice they're not multiple choice questions and answers. They're not true-false questions and answers. You must do the interactive to how you would actually do what they're telling you to do. So far, two incorrect tries. On a test, I'd be, it would be wrong. I would have missed the question. So, but in this case, I can do it 10,000 times if I want until I get it correct. So if I click on, the recycle bin, that one doesn't even click. There we go. So task or try again. How do you shut it down? So you click the start button down in the bottom left. Not if you're screen, if you're using Windows, or if you're using a Mac or anything else. But remember, again, in the pop-up, right? So in the bottom left of the pop-up, you click your start menu, okay? And now just above the start menu, you see the power. This thing is a power button. So if you click it, then sleep, shut down, or restart. They said shut down. So if I click sleep, again, it's wrong, right? I'm getting closer, but it's wrong. So obviously, how do you shut down? You just click the power button and you click shut down, no problem. So then it says you've completed the task and it moves. Now that's when you get credit for it if it's training. So like, in other words, when I click this thing here now, this is my menu showing, oh, there's only 21 tasks, by the way. I think I was telling you in class there were about maybe 25. So it's 21. So it's, you cannot have an easier first exam. Okay, so in here, so it shows that one is now done. And now I'm on to sign into Windows. So if I go back into here, so this is it, sign into Windows. Again, see, I can move the instructions so it doesn't get in the way. It says sign into Windows 10 as user 1 and use Windows as the password. So it's a little bit harder of a question, not harder as in difficult really, but you have to be in user 1. You can see I'm in user 2. So I would need to click over here for user 1, and then the passwords are case sensitive, which means if I spelled this with a capital W and then a small INDOWS, I would get it wrong. Okay, so case sensitive must all be small letters. And once you type it, by the way, you know that you're going to either get it right or wrong, obviously. In this one, remember, you get 2 tries, 3 tries, or 33 tries, or 10,000 tries, whatever you want. But if it was an exam, and here now I'll type Windows, which is the password. Oops. Okay. Now, once you type a password, you see this little I that pops up here. It just means show it. So if I click it and hold it, it tells me that's what I typed, Windows. Then look at the instructions. It says Windows that way. That was what I just showed. All right. Let's change that little W to a big W this way. Okay. Now show. See, now it's a big W, which means it's wrong. It's wrong on 2 counts. 1, I spelled the password wrong because it has to be, it's case sensitive. And then I also did not sign in as user 1. I'm user 2, right? So I'll go ahead and click now, and it says it's incorrect. So now I'll go to user 1. So I'm in the right user, but again, I'll spell it with a capital W, Windows. Okay? Again, click this before I enter, because if you enter and it's wrong on the test, then you've messed up, right? I mean, I'm assuming it's a test question. But you see, again, it's capital W. Look up here, pay close attention, right? This class tells you, pay attention. So we know it's wrong, but I can fix it before I even do that. Just type it this way. Or alternatively, you can just go back here and, wipe it all out. Windows. Let's see if it's right. That's right. Enter. And it's done. Okay? All right. So now it's talking about start the alarms and clocks app. And it even gives you a hint from the start menu. So you don't want to click over here, That's not it. You don't want to click on your calendar. That's not it. Okay? They're not even charging you a penalty on it for whatever reason. But if you click over here, on the start menu, so then you're looking for alarms and clocks, and it's going to be in the little alpha sort. So right here we have A, alarms and clock. So it says start it from the start menu apps list. This is the apps list, and it's going from A down to Z. The first ones are most used. So in that case, had it been up there, you could also have clicked it from there. Okay, like there's an Excel right here for most used, but watch, I'll go down to the E and you'll see Excel again. So either one would work as long as it's from the start menu. So anyway, alarms and clocks from the start menu. Now, rather than me do it, this time I'm going to have the observe and the practice, just so you can see it. Actually, I'll go ahead and get it wrong once, all right? So alarms and clocks, I click in here. Oh, no, that is all I had to do. Shoot. Oh, well, let's go back to it. So you can go backwards, it's already right. I want to do this again, but I want to now do it with the observe and practice so you can kind of see what they do, all right? So observe.
Use the alphabetical apps list on the start menu to open any installed application.
So she's saying the start menu, and then she's going to click on
the start
it.
button.
So now she's clicking on it.
The start menu opens. Click Alarms and Clock.
So here you get the little play-by-play, what you have to do.
Which includes an alarm, a clock, a timer, and a stopwatch, starts, and its window opens on the desktop.
Okay, so that is it. Now it says, do you want to do that again, or are you okay? There's 2 other modes you can do. One is apply. Again, this is the one you have to do. I'm just going to show you, though, the difference between observe and practice. I said they're the same, except with practice, you have to do the clicking, but she tells you where to click. All right, so let's do practice.
Use the alphabetical apps list on the start menu to open any installed application.
Okay, that's exactly what she said.
Button.
That's exactly what she said here. But see, she won't do the click this time. We have to do it. But you see, it's got a red border. You see the instructions, and it's pointing down to that button. So obviously, I have to click it. Okay.
The start menu opens. Click Alarms and Clock.
Same thing again, exactly the same video, the same instructions, but rather than click it this time, we have to click it, okay?
The app, which includes an alarm, a clock, a timer, and a stopwatch, starts, and its window opens on the desktop.
Okay, then you'd go to apply, and this is only obviously if you didn't really understand it. So now we're on the same one. Even though we already did the apply, you can do the apply 100 times. Remember I said you should do each one at least 4 times, at least, and write down notes if you need to, and you can use the notes on the exam. All right, so again, now you'd click Start, and then you'd click Alarms and Clock, and it's done, okay? All right, that's all I'm going to demonstrate, okay? You're going to do, obviously, all these tasks. You're going to do them a bunch of times until you understand exactly, okay, how to do all of these things. And again, I would strongly suggest that you also, you know, do these things over here in MindTap. Let me get rid of this so I can show you. So if you close this lower right X, under, in my case, my name here, that's the window for the training. Obviously, you don't want to close the top right X. That shuts down everything. So I want to get out of training. Okay. Now I'm back over here, but I'm still saying you should do this. So let's just click the read just so you can kind of see it. And then you just have to review. Here's whatever number of links. You know, it's just module 1, in other words. But if you want to go to a specific area, like if you want to pin an app to the start menu, you click this and it'll show you how to do it. Okay. You can also just, as long as you scroll up and down on the vertical scroll bar, the one that goes up and down, then you see everything. And then if you want to go to the next page, you can also just do it with the greater than sign. And in this case, there's still an up and down, which means you don't just read what you can see, but scroll down, okay? And then you go back and forth, all right? These are not clickable anymore now, because now you're just going through for the reads, but there will be some things that will be links, all right? So these are just the objectives. All right, so get out of that, but let you understand that you should be doing it. And that is all for this training session. Now, by the way, one thing in conclusion, I stopped that after doing about 4 activities. Let me go back to it to show you what happened. So Windows 10 training. Okay, remember the orange bubbles you have to do. Orange filled in bubbles are the ones that counts towards the grade. All right, so I click the training. Now, when I click the start button this time, it's not going to go back to number 1. It's going to go where I was. And this is the good thing. See, so if you don't finish it, let's say, especially when you're doing Word, Excel, Access, and PowerPoint, you click the hamburger. We call this the hamburger icon, the one with the 3 lines, because it looks like a hamburger. And then you go down and you see, okay, yeah, I got 1 right, I got 2 right, I got 3 right. But if you want, if any of these were a challenge to you, you can just click it to go back to that question. Or again, alternatively, just shut the task list down, and that's the one you're on is 4, and here's the instructions for 4. But anytime you want to go back in, you just say, you know what, I want to go back to number 2. Okay, so it brings you to 2. You can still click the list, and you can see that you're not in order anymore. I mean in order based on what you've done. Okay, all right, so have a great day. Work hard. Pay attention.